Here's how I went about removing my clutch master cylinder. This is a 1992 Corolla, and what you got to do is unbolt. There's four nuts holding this brake booster on underneath the dash, and there's two holding this master cylinder on, and for the clutch, and those are all the same size. They're all 12 millimeters. There's two holding this on, four holding that on. And you're gonna have to remove the bolts and pull this out, and then pull your old one out and wiggle it out and turn it sideways as you're pulling on it. It's pretty difficult to remove, but you can get it eventually. You got to pry this kind of out of the way. As you can see, mine's a little dented up, my brake booster. And then once you've removed it and you've taken this line off, which is a 10 millimeter, once you've taken that off, you can kind of wiggle it out. And then when you're putting the new one back in, I would recommend leaving the stud on the left side of this in and pushing it in. Just makes it a whole bunch easier. And then I would thread the nut onto your other stud, and I would use the OEM studs that come on this because they're shorter and they're easier to put in. This is a Luck aftermarket one, and it's got longer studs, so it's harder to get in if you don't end up wanting to pull out all this stuff, which is way easier to do. Except you'll be fighting with your studs trying to get them back in here. But I would unscrew your shorter studs out of your old brake or your master cylinder, and I would thread those in. And I would take your new one before you even put the new one in here and try to start wiggling it in. I would try to put the line on mine, and so that it's already threaded in, because if you take this line and you try to put it on once this master cylinder is mounted up, you won't be able to get the you won't be able to thread it in straight, and it won't screw in. So, and then thread your stud in on the right side. Use a paper towel in the socket, and put some grease on the threads, and then put some Teflon tape to make sure that nut doesn't move, and then thread it in. And then I threaded mine in with an impact, and it looks like it was able to go in about halfway into the actual master cylinder, and it's holding it in pretty well. So that's how I would do it and you can do it without removing all of your air box and your brake booster and all that. All you have to do is pull it out and slide it to the side, as opposed to removing everything, because if you try to remove everything, it's going to take way longer. So that's how I did mine.